All right, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rebecca Webb. I am the co-chair of the webinar committee for AFMA, along with Melissa Keller. Today we are bringing two board members to you with some expertise in tracking patient counts and patient visits. So without further ado, would like to introduce Miss Shantae Patterson from OSU OMECO Family Medicine Residency Program at Oklahoma, and Miss Sarah Pendergraft from Mercy Hospital in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Thanks, ladies. It's all yours.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Good to see everybody on here. I don't see many faces, but I know you're there. So we just kind of have a few things that we were going to show you as far as tracking the requirements that ACGME sets out for family medicine. Shantae and I do things a little bit differently. My program does use new innovations, so that's what I'm going to be speaking to. So if your program also uses new innovations, that will probably be beneficial for you as far as anything that I have to show you. I'm going to share my screen. Unless Shantae wants to do hers first, it's really up to you. Sorry, I think she's muted, so I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I will go ahead and share. Let's see. New innovations. So can everyone see my new innovations? This is like my logger screen. Okay, so basically what happens is I have every procedure or anything that any of our residents would ever do in our program listed here under procedure name. So if you have new innovations, you just go under logger and you'll click lists and fields. And once you click that, it takes you to this section. And under the tab procedures, you can just add any new procedures. So I just add new ones anytime a resident does something that's not already listed for us. So, I mean, it goes through literally tons of stuff. So anytime we have something where we think someone might not be meeting a requirement, say like deliveries, like vaginal deliveries or C-sections or something like that, and we want to see like maybe how many they have, I just pull a report from New Innovations. So doing that, you'll also go to the logger, and then you would just do resident reports. And I'll go ahead and click on that. I do a couple of different things. I can do the individual resident summary, which shows a little bit more specific if you wanted to do that. So I can show you there. Like say I just wanted to do one of my residents and I wanted to see how many vaginal deliveries they have. And I would just click on them, click on that. You can specify dates or you can say show all dates because that will do the entire time that they've been in residency with you. I also have everything clicked except their social. And then I just do view report, which I'm not going to do right now because I don't want to show this resident's information to you. So, but that is how you do it. That is how you pull a report. If you go to logger procedures and click on the add tab, this is where your residents go in and actually add all their procedures in. So if anyone had a question about, hey, how do I put in something, or hey, where do I put the patient type or visit type? All of that is listed under the add tab under logger. Did someone have a question? Sorry. I can only see like 3 people since I have my screen sharing. So I don't know if anyone's asking.
I don't see any questions in the chat.
Okay.
Anybody raise their hand?
If they do, just holler at me, Becky.
Yes, ma'am.
So basically under this logging procedures add tab, they will just pick their name under the resident tab. Obviously it'll pull their status and department automatically. They actually go in and put anything specific, like the date, the location, the procedure, the supervisor that they were working with. Role and diagnosis, those don't necessarily have to be used for them to actually get a procedure put in that they've done. So if they want to log something, they don't have to put those extra tabs in there. And then they could just do add procedure and save it. And then it saves to that page I was just showing you. And it shows me how many of those have been used. Like if we have, if someone has done one of those procedures 30 times, it'll show me 30. So I will see that automatically on that main page. Or you can go ahead and pull reports, which for me, that's much easier. I just go in and find out what I need and what I'm looking at, and to see how many residents have done which procedures and if we're meeting requirements. So I click on all the stuff I need, I click on all of my residents, and I run a report. So I've done that individually, I've done that as a whole residency. So it really just depends on what you're looking to do. But it's fairly easy. New Innovations makes things very simple, at least for our program it does. What kind of questions do you guys have about getting those procedures logged or looking them up or anything like that? Because I'm happy to answer anything you have.
So Paula asked a question in the chat. Are your residents good about logging their procedures?
Yes, they actually really are. We tell them from the beginning that it's up to them to keep up with this, and they don't want to have to log a bunch of procedures at the end of residency before they graduate. So they figured out that, yeah, that's probably not the best thing to do. And we send little reminders out, but they really are pretty good about doing that all on their own. Our PD goes through and approves most of them to look at, to make sure that they are a procedure that they need to be doing and things like that. But yes, they're pretty good about doing that on their own. I would recommend sending out like a monthly reminder or something like that, maybe at the beginning or end of a block, so that they would say, hey, I can't forget to do this, or hey, I think I missed a few that I need to go back and make sure that I add into there so that it doesn't not save. So yeah, they do pretty good.
Second question would be from Stanley. Where do you go to change the required number of procedures inside of New Innovations?
To change the required number. Okay, let's see. That would be under, I believe it's under list and fields. Yeah, I think you would have to edit each of these. So like, for example, like these biopsies, let's just do excision biopsy. So right now I have 20 that we would like them to get. And if I edit it, you can put whatever number that you want them to get. We would like them to have 20 direct supervision excision biopsies. And now you can change that, and you can say like 10 direct supervision, 5 indirect supervision, whatever you want to do. If you want to do it that way, we put everything under direct. That way, whenever they log those, it will save them for sure. Because if you had oversight and they tried to save it under direct supervision, then it wouldn't work. So either way you want to do that, that's really up to you and your program director. But that is how you change the number there.
Anyone else have any questions for Sarah? I'll allow you to reserve the right to ask questions as you think of them. We'll be here for an hour, so.
Yeah, I kind of just scooted through real quick. So if there are questions later that you think of, just let me know. I will just be hanging out. So if Shantae wants to start her part, we can get through as fast as we can here. I'll stop sharing so that she can get on.
Okay. So, like Becky said, that I am with the Omiko OSU Family Medicine Residency Program in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so I'm going to show you how we log patient encounters. And we pretty much log our procedures the same way that Sarah does in New Innovations. But this is be more towards the numbers that they have to get and how we log the patient encounters. So let me share my screen. So this is, can you guys see this document?
I cannot see your document.
Sorry, my internet, we had a storm, and so it's like kicking me in and out. Let me try to share one more time.
Oh, here it comes.
Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the patient encounter goals that we give to our residents during orientation, and it pretty much explains the type of encounters, the number that's required, and then how we are tracking it. Um, so for the continuity visits, it's tracked through our Epic system. And so they don't have to worry about logging any of those encounters. They do log their vaginal deliveries, but that's in New Innovations. We use Google Forms for our logging for patient encounters. So this is just a number. They have to get 20 vaginal deliveries, and that's logged through Innovations, and we track those. The pediatric inpatient and ED, the hospitalized adults, the adult ED, geriatrics, inpatient, and outpatient. And then also our OMM procedures, since we have osteopathic recognition, they have to have a minimum of 50 OMM procedures logged by the end of residency, which is not a lot because they could get 50 encounters in a month if they were doing any type of OMM. This is just tips on how to meet the requirements. We explain that some types of encounters fit into more than one category. And it's better to log the encounter as an encounter that it occurs less frequently so that you can reach that goal. And then anything over that you can put in the other category. And here's a little example of inpatient adults over age of 65. This encounter could fall into two different categories, hospitalized adult or geriatrics. I recommend that you log these geriatric encounters until you reach the goal of 125. And then after that, any additional hospitalized adults over 65 encounters would spill over into the hospitalized adult. We explain about what an encounter is, and it's not just patients.
I think we just lost Shantae. See if she can get logged back in real quick.
Oh, there she is. I think you're muted, Shante.
So sorry. This storm is really messing with my internet. It's the worst time ever to do this. Okay. Let me go back to sharing that screen. Okay. And to pick where I left off, we explain what an encounter is for the residents so they can know how to log it. And so that's our little cheat sheet to give to the residents at the beginning of orientation. And then we have also housekeeping throughout the year when we see that maybe we knew they were inpatient, hospital, but they didn't hardly log any patient encounters, then we have to have a little housekeeping moment about how to log those. We don't have a problem with residents logging patient encounters because if they don't, they get an extra night shift call shift. So that's one way to to get their paperwork done. I also have the Google form that I want to show you that we use. Let me share again. Okay, can everybody see that? Okay. So this is how we log our patient encounters through our Google form. The information is collected through email, so they have to have a valid and use the exact same email every time they log these patient encounters. So we ask for first and last name, the training year, the year, and typically I remove the year before when they've caught up on all their patient encounters, because there's always some stragglers who don't do their paperwork in time. So I'll actually go in and remove that here in a little bit. And then we are in a block schedule, so they have to select which rotation that they're logging for. Then we have our rotation here, so they have to select the rotation that they're on. And then here is where the encounters are that they would list. So we have it broken down into adult ICU encounters, inpatient, ER, outpatient, and so forth. And so all is required is just the number that they would put on there. And it's just a trust system. So that's how we don't have an actual way of when they're on rotation to track those. So we leave it up to the resident to do the honor system and to log these correctly. And then once they've logged everything, this is how I go and I create a pivot table here, because everything that they enter into Google dumps into an Excel spreadsheet in Google Forms. And then from there, I go in and download it and then create a pivot table so I can get the sum of all their numbers throughout their residency. So over here would be their names. And then over here is like the sums of all of these, and it just keeps going throughout their residency. And so it has it all the way to the end. And then I can separate if I need to know specific numbers for whatever rotation. I can pivot and manipulate the table to just show me the sums of a particular rotation or a particular, like if I need to know if we're meeting the mark in the adult ER encounters, or is there something we need to do to fix the rotation? Do we need to add another rotation if they're not getting the PEDS numbers and things like that? So this is what we use this for. And I usually run this report probably, I ran it right before our CCC that we have in December, so that we can make sure that we don't need to change anything. And then it's also ran again for our PEC. So they're in charge.
We lost Shantae again. Let's give her a second to get back in. Sorry about this, guys. For those of you that just joined, Shantae Patterson was speaking and she got kicked off her internet. So we're just waiting on her to get back on so she can finish her presentation. Just give her a second.
Yeah, I like that Shantae uses Google Forms. My institution doesn't allow Google, so I can't use that, which is very frustrating because I think that is a very good option if your institution allows you to do that.
Our institution does not allow us to use Google either. I use the Excel spreadsheets.
Mhm.
I have a log with each person's name on a page of a spreadsheet with the information that we collect. And it's shared with everyone. They're able to go in and enter those at any given time. And then before our evaluations, I go in and I pull their numbers. So
Yep, that's what we do too. Pull numbers before
Oh,
CCC and
I think
CDC.
she's coming back.
Oh, there she is.
Recording in progress.
Welcome back, Shantae. We missed you. Oh, I think you're muted.
Okay. Can you?
I think you're muted on both your computer and your phone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just had to turn one of my things off. Okay. So that was pretty much my spiel. Does anybody have any questions?
See. Not sure if this is for you, Shantae. Maybe it was for Sarah, but they asked if we could share a document. So, if you could also share your documents that you went through, that would be awesome. You can put it in the chat.
Okay.
And then let's see, I don't think there's any other questions. Anyone have questions for Shantae? It looks like Sarah shared her bean counting documents with everybody in the chat. She also shared a document on bean counting for accreditation.
Yeah, so the ones I shared, there's two versions. One is like 4 to a page, and then I just laminate it and cut them out for the residents during orientation. The other one is just like a full page document if you just needed it for yourself, like to post somewhere.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's very helpful.
Okay, I'm trying to share this in the chat. Just give me a second.
Oh, Stanley said for people like us that use Google, Microsoft Suite for holding resident data outside of RMS, what all do other PAs do to keep track of this information? Does all that data, evaluations, etc., need to be manually entered into the residence file in New Innovations?
Say that again.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what data he means.
So if we're, I think what Stanley, Stanley, are you on? Can you unmute and tell them what you're looking for?
Yeah, so like for instance, we're our program is so weird. We have so many external faculty, people that don't rotate normally, or like external faculty from other facilities and other clinics that don't have New Innovations accounts, and it would be far too cumbersome to have all of them all the time. So we use this external Microsoft form that I send to any like external faculty or any external rotation locations for them to complete evaluations on residents that rotate there. Like for instance, our sports medicine people, none of them have accounts because there's like 10 doctors in that list, and I don't know who's going to be with them or not by the block because their schedule is varied. So they complete these evaluations in Microsoft Forms, and that whenever it comes up to CCC or quarterly advisory meetings, I can pull that info and send the spreadsheet with all the responses to faculty. But do these need to be later input into New Innovations, or is it fine to keep these outside just as long as, they've been documented in forms, but do they need to be going manually put in? Or like if you're holding these procedures inside the Google form, do you need to go in and manually input their procedures that they've inputted and this external source into New Innovations or whatever your RMS is?
I mean, I think that your resident will need to put in all of those procedures for themselves in New
Yeah,
Innovations. That
that-
shouldn't
that-
be up to the
Yeah,
preceptor.
that plus side for us is all of our procedures are in NI. It doesn't matter. Even the clinical encounters, they still put it in, but it's kept inside the EMR, the details at least. And we
Mhm.
have a different EMR at the clinic than we do at the hospital.
Oh.
But so the evaluations especially though, because we have a lot of external evaluations.
Yeah, I actually have a couple that I send them like blank copies where they just fill it out like manually, like because some of them don't even like to use computers for anything. We have a few of those. So I have those preceptors fill them out and send them back to me. And then when I get those back, I manually input them into the evaluation and New Innovations. So that way it's there and it's actually like listed. So if I were to look that up, it would still be there. I would hate for those evaluations to just not kind of be in space and not be available in the same RMS that everything is located in. So I would definitely get those uploaded or manually added to your New Innovations.
Okay, yeah, that was my question. Okay, thank you.
And then I can add to that if you don't mind. We have a lot of docs. We don't know who they're gonna rotate with until they get there, just like you, Stanley. And we use New Innovations also. So we have all of the doctors kind of input into New Innovations with kind of just a generic like name, and their email address is just a random, like not really an email address, because we don't necessarily want to send anything to them if they're not going to actually utilize it to respond. But what you can do is put your email address in there. And then as your evaluation, once you match it, as the evaluation comes out, it actually will send you a link to it. You'd be able to go in and just like Sarah said, you can go in on the back end and enter evaluations for others. The only thing that I would say is if they've already completed it on forms and you're not going to upload that into New Innovations, make sure that you're putting in your comment field on your evaluation that it was transcribed from a Microsoft Forms evaluation, so it doesn't look like you went in and you filled out all these evaluations. Just keep, hold yourself kind of safe from going in and completing those, making sure that you're saying, like received from Dr. So-and-so on Microsoft Forms on this date, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you could put that in the comment at the end of the evaluation.
Yeah.
There's a thing that says complete for others.
Yes.
And so you do that. And then in the comments, what I do is I just put down entering in on the behalf of Dr. So-and-so.
I do too.
And the physician's name they have to have an account inside NI for that evaluation to be put in there. I can't just put someone's name, like it'll have to be linked to an account.
Right.
It does have.
Yes,
like-
they have to have a personnel record.
Yeah. And like Becky said, it can be kind of generic. It doesn't have to be any super specific like you have on some of your other preceptors. But we have a couple of those too, who it's just very generic. I think I have one or two that do come to my email, just because they're not going to check it. They have no intention of looking at it. But you can complete for others, like Shantae said. But that's probably the easiest way to do that. And then it's all located into one system.
Are there any other questions for either Sarah or Shantae? Everybody make sure that you grab those documents out of the chat if those are something that you would like to keep. There should be a download button. If you hover over the top of the attachment, you should be able to download it to your computer so that once this is closed off, you don't have trouble getting back into the chat to get them. I can always make sure that these are added to the AFMA website underneath, our resources page if you guys are interested in that. I can also get that shared to the listserv for you guys. And our recording of this webinar will be put on our YouTube page, and I can also share that hopefully in the listserv if it's not too large. But otherwise, you can go to AFMA webinars on YouTube, and you should be able to see this within the next 24 to 48 hours.
And I also shared my email, so if there's any other questions later or something you thought of after this is over, then you can definitely email myself, or Shantae put hers in there as well. So both of us are available to answer questions.
I will be sure to put these documents on the listserv. I'm not sure who put that in the chat, but I'd be happy to put them on the listserv so you guys can get to them. All right. That being said, we'll get you 25 minutes of your life back today. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Shantae. And take care, everybody. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye, have a good one.